Hello, mysterious person behind the screen, and welcome back to another in a series of commentaries by me and Isaac.
Hello there.
So we are doing some more Doctor Who commentaries now. We're doing our first and favourite Doctor Who stories. So you're going to get 4 commentaries on the way. And we're starting with Isaac's favourite, Attack of the Cybermen.
We indeed are. So, if you'd like to sync this up with your Blu-ray copy of Attack of the Cybermen, go to Play All and press play in 3, 2, 1, go. So yeah, this is my favourite story, and I make no apology for it.
Yeah, no, fair enough. It's one of those ones that isn't conventionally picked as a favourite, so it's cool that it's yours.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's someone I follow on Twitter whose favourite story is Dimensions in Time. More power to them.
yes, there we go. Yeah, exactly.
I've also done a review of this story that doesn't, sadly, it doesn't answer the question of who really wrote Attack of the Cybermen. Because there are conflicting reports.
Yeah, this is the thing. It makes me laugh because even on the documentaries on the DVD and the Blu-ray, it's this whole thing, and I think it's nice or generally accepted that Ian Levine had a big hand in it. Sort of mixed with Eric Saywood, but
the way I see it, Ian Levine probably gave Saywood like the idea of the Cybermen tombs from Tomb of the Cybermen, and Saywood was like, oh okay, I'll put that in my Cyberman story. That's how I saw it, because a lot of people assume that Paula Woolsey, who I think was a girlfriend of Eric Saywood. Apparently she delivered like the briefest of outlines, and then Saywood just wrote everything himself. Apparently, no, it was just a false name to throw away off the fact that he was writing under contract, because a head writer writing for his own show, that had never happened now.
Yeah, unheard of.
It's ironic how, back then, script editors, aka head writers, were not allowed to write for their own shows, but Chris Chibnall pretty much wrote an entire series himself for Series 13.
Yeah, it's kind of nuts when you think about it. It's sort of, it reminds me of, the whole mystery of who wrote this reminds me of the mystery of who directed The Reign of Terror, or who took over directing after Henrik Hirsch. The fact that nobody can remember, even the people who were in it, are just like, we've got no idea who came back to direct that.
For UK Gold, obviously I wasn't there, but I've seen on YouTube, viewers voted for this story to represent the Sixth Doctor era.
Yeah, well, it makes sense. I've got to be honest, this is sort of the one where I think of like the Sixth Doctor era. This is kind of one that I always do go back to. It's the one I got signed by Colin Baker when I met him. Although it's not my favourite Sixth Doctor story, I don't think it is the one I tend to think back to and return to more than the rest.
Yeah, and I mean, it's special for me. I first saw it when I was I was 11. I remember buying it at my local Sainsbury's because they still have like DVD and Blu-ray sections, and obviously this was the most recent classic Doctor Who to come out, so they just had it on sale and I bought it.
Yes, well, the DVD release infamously rated U.
Yeah, they did, and I'm like, this is a U, but Logopolis is a 12?
Yeah, it's kind of nuts.
Apparently this, and I think Ambassadors of Death, I think in Australia they're pretty much the equivalent of a 15 rating.
Yes, it's kind of nuts, isn't it?
Honestly, I've pretty much said this should have been the Sixth Doctor's first adventure, just skip all the post-regeneration fluff and replace the line "bleakness of Gioconda" with "bleakness of Androzani," and we're okay.
Yeah, to be honest, I do agree. It's because this is the thing. I think it's easy to forget this when watching it in isolation, but this was the first real taste of that the public got of the Sixth Doctor after Twin Dilemma, in which he spends 4 episodes not really being the Doctor, which is still just such a baffling decision. But
now that building that has £10 million in diamonds is located in Hammersmith, Olympia. It's literally down the road from London Film and Comic Con. I remember it was last year. I was with Geek's Handbag. Hi, Adam, if you're listening. We were walking down to a pub, and he pointed it out. That's the building that Lytton and his gang pull up to say it has millions of diamonds in.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Yeah, well, this is interesting. Lytton and his gang, with Terry Malloy as the undercover agent, who's sticks out like a sore thumb.
Yeah.
As a gangster.
Now, if this wouldn't surprise me if the DVD range once had an idea on the table. Put Resurrection of the Daleks and Attack of the Cybermen together and call it Lytton Tales.
Surprised they didn't, to be honest.
Yep.
Good to see Brian Glover in this, though. Always good to see Brian Glover turn up.
Yep. I always know him as the PE teacher from Kes.
Yeah, yeah, he's in Kes, isn't he? I know him from Alien 3 and Bottom.
Yeah.
Oh, and American Werewolf in London as well. Oh, yeah, God, he's been in loads. I always forget.
Yes, yeah.
So, I do think... I do enjoy season 22. I think it's I'm mixed on it, but overall I tend to lean more towards the positive. But I do think there is a weakness in the 45-minute format, whilst it's clear that the writers are still trying to write for a 4-part format. And as a result, I feel like it's mostly prevalent in Vengeance on Varos, where you just seem to get like endless TARDIS scenes, because it's sort of trying to apply a new format to an old structure, if that makes sense. But I think this just about avoids it.
Yeah. I know some fans theorise it's Sayward editing the scripts and being like, oh yeah, Colin Baker's the Doctor, he has to be in this. I'll write a scene in. Yeah,
I mean, the thing about the Sixth Doctor's era is so much of the behind-the-scenes drama just seeps into these 2 seasons, unfortunately.
And when you discuss season 22 as a whole, it is my comfort season. Apart from Time Lash, I could put any of the stories on and just enjoy it, depending whatever mood I'm in.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
I have got a video coming up, which I won't reveal the full details, but you may be surprised about what season 22 is placed.
Interesting. Okay. All right. Yeah. I like that you specified apart from Time Lash there.
Yep. I can't defend it. It's rubbish.
It really is.
The director for this one is Matthew Robinson, who did Resurrection of the Daleks the previous year, and I do think he's a really good director because he really can really give atmosphere, because if you look at the scenes on like the Dalek Bridge, that red lighting just really stands out.
I agree.
I know so many people criticise the look of the tombs in this, but I personally think they're very well directed. You do feel like you're in a giant freezer. And yeah, they don't look like the ones in Tomb, but I don't care.
Yeah, I don't mind the look of the tomb so much. It's when we get to the Cybermen in the big control room that I think it sort of starts to sort of fall apart a little bit. Specifically the controller.
It is the weakest looking set, I'd say. It's just way too overlit and doesn't have any atmosphere, but I think everything else is just really well directed. I know he was gonna do Nightmare Fair and The Hollows of Time for season 23. He lives in Cambodia now.
Oh, I didn't know that. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, he runs a production company in Cambodia.
It's a shame that these film sequences don't survive.
Hmm.
It is so colourful though, like the whole season is really, but just what the lead actors are wearing and the sets and everything.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's unanimously agreed that this is pretty much an Eric Saywood script.
Yes.
And I do know for the season 22 Blu-ray box set, Colin recorded a new commentary for Revelation of the Daleks. It was the only one he hadn't done for DVD. And he was asked about Eric Saywood, and he pretty much said, I don't really want to breathe the same air as the guy, to be honest.
Yeah, it's...
I don't blame him for saying that, because, they sat down, had discussions about the Doctor's character and things like that. Apparently, Eric even came to Colin for advice, saying, should I, don't like how I'm getting on with JNT, should I leave, should I stay? And Colin said, well, it's up to you, really. And of course, Eric just blasted him in an interview saying, oh, he's not a very good Doctor, I don't think has the screen presence.
Yeah, that infamous interview. This is kind of what I mean. This whole era is just... There's so much bad blood behind the scenes, and it seeps in a really petty way, I think. And and I do have to put a lot of that on Eric Saywood, because ultimately I do sort of feel like... Play the game. Like, fair enough, you're not getting on with your boss, but like, don't put that into the show that you're,
Yeah, I'd say that as well. Yeah. If you're not having a good time, it's probably best to move on.
Yeah, I agree.
At this scrapyard, it's no longer there. It's actually a block of flats now.
Yeah, the location documentary on this season was really, really good, actually.
Yeah, and also, obviously it's the same one from An Unearthly Child, and I think this resembles it better than the one in, say, Remembrance of the Daleks, because in that one it just looks really, really big.
I would agree, actually. Yeah, I think it's hard, really, because the Unearthly Child one is set at night, and I think it adds the kind of like really claustrophobic atmosphere to it. When you put it in the day, it is going to always be difficult to kind of recreate that same atmosphere. But this just about gets there.
Mm-hmm. It was the first time Colin had filmed in public as the Doctor, so naturally he was getting a lot of people coming up asking for his autograph, and it's where he realised, oh, bloody hell, I'm in something really big here.
Yeah. Now, I think this might have been the season, and I could be wrong. Chris Chapman has told the story about him going to do a location documentary and getting everything booked in, and just just paying a visit to it the night before the shoot and realising that he'd gotten the wrong location. And it was a back street like this, but it was sort of the opposite side. So he had to quickly scramble the night before to try and get the owner's permission to film on the actual location. And Which it must be an easy mistake to make, because I mean these back streets must be pretty similar to each other.
They are, yeah, and also he said he planned to do a documentary on the making of Doctor in Distress. He felt like it was too much of a piss take.
Yeah, again, that's one of those things where it's like it's funny to make a doc about it, but there's still a lot of bad blood surrounding it. I think like Ian Levine is still like, I mean, he's still angry about a lot of things, but
yeah, and I mean, Chris Chapman considered contacting Hans Zimmer about it.
That would have been amazing.
Yeah, I would have loved to have known what Hans Zimmer would have said about it.
It's probably just a gig for him at the time. Like, honestly, I would not. I would imagine that he can't remember much about it.
Mm-hmm. Say this, I think this story does establish the Sixth Doctor and Peri's relationship quite well. There's sarcastic banter between the two, but you can tell that they do care for each other.
Yeah.
And, if the stories of the season were following, say, this relationship and not Twin Dilemma, then that would have been a lot better.
I agree.
I do like to think with Time Lash, Glenn McCoy just looked at Twin Dilemma and thought, oh, that's their relationship, and just had them bicker and argue all the time.
Yeah. Like a lot of things, I think this era just would have calmed down and settled into its own groove with time, but it just never got that time.
This way to sum up Eric Sayward is you'd want him on the crew, just not being the captain.
Yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Compare him to Andrew Cartmel. I reckon Andrew was just a lot more focused on, looking for writers that he wanted to work with. I think during the Seventh Doctor era, JNT just did his producing stuff and that's it.
Yeah.
And I think Andrew Cartmel was just happy to do all the script stuff. People have criticised the music in this, but I like it. I can't help but like it. I've always been a fan of Malcolm Clarke's music, because even his score for the Sea Devils is somewhat controversial, but I like it.
It gets stuck in your head, that's for sure. It really gets stuck in your head.
Yeah, because I love his Cyberman march. I hear that music, I instantly think of the Cybermen.
Oh, I agree, yep.
Also, he totally fixes the chameleon circuit, and it works for this story.
Yeah, it's to be honest.
Imagine if the title sequences changed to the TARDIS spinning to having an organ spinning.
Oh, that'd be so good, actually. That'd be so good. To be honest, I'm surprised that Stephen Moffat never played with that more, because it seemed like right up his street.
True, yeah.
These tunnel and sewer sequences are shot really well. The lighting's great.
They are, yeah. I think they'd actually gone down to a real sewer, because they do look massive.
Yes.
Yeah, it is hard to make them out sometimes, but we do have the black stealth Cybermen in this.
Yeah, they're really, really cool. And it's it's a shame we never get a good look at them, but also that does work in its favour.
Yeah. I mean, B&M do a Attack of the Cybermen set, have a Sixth Doctor figure, Cyber Controller, Stealth Cyberman, and a Cryon.
That'd be great.
Yeah. Yeah, the Doctor's about to beat up a policeman here, but I've seen people say that's too violent for the Doctor, and I'm like, did you ever watch the third Doctor?
Yeah,
he definitely would have. He would have taken such pleasure in it. He would have gone, "Hey, ha!"
Yeah, that's not too violent for the Doctor. I mean, there's an argument to be made later in the season, like in Vengeance on Varos or Two Doctors, but this is fine.
Yeah.
I love that he keeps the hat on throughout most of this as well.
Yeah. So these policemen are obviously from Resurrection of the Daleks, but I wonder, were they duplicates as well? Because
I
think the Doctor mentioned at the end of that story that they're not stable and they probably would have broken down by now. Unless this is not too long after Resurrection.
Yeah. I don't know, maybe they were repaired or something, I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, Litton's not a duplicate, he is a mercenary, so it makes sense. If you were watching this on the Horror Channel back in 2014, this is where, quote-unquote, part 1 would have ended. The, come on, Perry!
Oh, I do love applying cliffhangers to double-length stories.
They're not needed.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, Matthew Robinson's a good director when he casts you as Davros, you sweat buckets playing the part, and then he says, okay, I'll make sure that your next role, you can see your face.
Yeah.
It's a lot more comfortable. I know recently Eric Saywood wrote a Lytton comic, didn't he?
I think so, yeah. I'm not sure where you can find that, but I believe so, yeah.
I do think Lytton could have made a good companion, a mercenary who's taught by the Doctor compassion and mercy.
Yeah.
I noticed the Sixth Doctor does tend to get quite prominent male supporting characters, but he never had a proper male companion.
I agree, yeah. Yeah, that's true.
The closest we got was like Jamie in The Two Doctors and, say, Glitz in Trial of a Time Lord.
Yeah.
The way the Cybermen are introduced here is so good.
Yeah, I agree. And they make you wait for them as well. Like, it's paced very well.
Yeah, the way the light pours into the sewer there is just fantastic.
It's really good. And when they're shot like that, the Cybermen look really good as well. It's just later on when they turn the lights up where they look a little bit. I also love that bit of him screaming, and then the cut is so well done.
I am surprised this was a U on the DVD, but I think the Blu-ray is a 12.
Yeah, they upgraded it to a 12, and I agree with that. I think the U is just such a massive oversight. I'm still baffled by that, but...
Yeah, but I think the 12 could be down to the extras on the disc, because
true.
In Conversation with Colin Baker, they do talk about quite sensitive issues.
Yeah, they do.
I mean, that's probably my favourite In Conversation we've had so far, because I had no idea Colin, early in his career, was typecast as like the handsome seducer.
Yeah, that was a revelation.
I was like, oh wow, amazing.
It is also incredible to think that, like, around this time he had just gone through like the most horrific thing ever, like losing his son, and like, but you would never know, like, watching
I
this.
never would have guessed. Yeah, because I've said before, he very easily could have, just had nothing to do with Doctor Who after he was fired.
Yeah.
But he's at every single convention, that there is. He's always willing to talk to fans. I mean, I think he's now president of the Doctor Appreciation Society.
Yes, he is, yeah. You don't hear a lot from them these days.
No, you don't. I suppose Doctor Who fans just aren't. They're all over the world and scattered, so I just don't think they need to limit themselves to just one society.
They're all over the place.
That Cyber Tennant is such a brown nose.
He really is.
He's constantly sucking up to the leader. He lies, leader. David Banks was offered a promotion. He was offered Cyber Controller.
Yeah.
Funnily enough, as Cyber Leader, other Cybermen, they all got showers in their dressing rooms. He got a bath.
Yeah.
He basically got an ensuite bath to prove that he was the Cyber Leader. These scenes on Telos, I think they look fantastic. Like the muted colour, the dry ice. Because if you took out the filter, it would look like just your average quarry. And I think they did film it on quite a sunny day. But it just looks great. You really do feel like you've stepped onto an alien world that's really hostile.
Yeah, the back of the DVD has an image of this like whole area, and it's really bright and it's saturated, and and it just doesn't look like that in the episode at all. It's great.
Yeah. Also, it's the same quarry they used for the surface of Telos in Tomb of the Cybermen.
It is, yeah.
Story of how Colin and Nicola got acquainted is interesting, to say the least.
Yes. Yeah. It's
in Twin Dilemma, to break the ice, he just bit her on the arse.
Yeah, which is yeah,
so weird.
And then wasn't
if I did that
Kevin
where
McNally?
I work, I did that where I work, I'd probably be fired to try and break the ice with my co-workers.
Didn't Kevin and Ali try and do the same thing?
Oh, I don't remember.
I think he did, and then Nicola punched him in the face.
Oh, wow.
I've heard a story about that, yeah.
Oh, wow. I reckon we'll probably get a proper making of for the Twin Dilemma when season 21 comes to Blu-ray.
Yeah, I would hope so, but there's still so much bad blood surrounding it, and it's yeah, it's a difficult one.
Yeah, and actually, we can predict what the last set from the 1980s is going to be. It will probably be season 21.
I would assume so.
Yeah, because I highly doubt they're going to put it so soon after season 20, which is coming next.
Yeah, agreed.
I know a lot of people criticise the Bates and Stratton subplot, but I really like it. You know, it shows how much power the Cybermen's influence spreads. I love that they're half converted, as if they're rejects, and they have such rage and anger against the Cybermen too, as they did that to them.
Yeah, I think it works quite well, actually.
That's me to not my doctors. I wonder why your ancestors bothered to climb out of the primordial slime. I love how they went to the effort for getting Michael Kilgarriff back as the cyber controller. Oh, it's the equivalent of that scene from The Simpsons in Radioactive Man. I don't see why Radio Wolfcastle should be the new Radioactive Man. We should bring back Dirk Richter, the original. I keep telling you, he's 73 years old and he's dead. Granted, but...
Yeah, well, this is the thing. It's nice that they brought him back, but he can't fit the costume anymore. They've taped up his wrists.
His wrists just look really thin, as if they've crammed him into there.
It's gaffer tape because it's clearly just doesn't fit. And this is what I mean. Like, this era is full of these decisions, and it's like I'm not really sure who you're appealing to there, because yeah.
I know for the following season they were planning to get Michael Gough back as the Celestial Toymaker.
Yeah, no, that would have been pretty good. That would have been quite cool. Admittedly, the Nightmare Fair, the Big Finish version anyway, is quite meandering, but it would have been visually fun.
Yeah, I've listened to Nightmare Fair and Mission to Magnus. Yeah. I think Nightmare Fair is fine.
It's alright, yeah.
And Mission to Magnus, it feels like a season 17 script that got left behind. That's all I'm going to say.
Nightmare Fair, it's one of those things where so much of the appeal would have been, oh, we're seeing these actors go on holiday, but because obviously it's audio and it's done years later, it's yeah, I don't know.
We met Terry Malloy. He's really nice.
I have, yeah. He pretended to strangle me.
I'd love to know what the context is.
No, we just posed for a photo and he did the strangling thing. It was fun. He's a really nice guy. Yeah, he had what was cool when I met him. He had his original script for Remembrance of the Daleks out on the table, and he was just showing it to everyone who came up to him, which was pretty cool.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I met him at Oldbourne last year, and he signed my copy of novel for Revelation of the Daleks. Yeah, I was obviously dressed as the Sixth Doctor, and I quoted from Revelation, "I see you've been busy," and he immediately knew what the quote was and said it back.
Nice.
It's funny because if you go by Big Finish, I think Davros feels like the Sixth Doctor's Moriarty.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I do agree.
He's appeared most with the Sixth Doctor than any other. I mean, he's appeared once with McGann in Terra Firma and probably a few more that I've just not listened to, but
yeah.
I don't know if he's ever done a story with Peter on audio, Peter Davison.
That's a good point, actually. I mean, the thing about Big Finish is there's so bloody many of them. It's like, yeah, they're sort of just chucking things at the wall and seeing what to do now at the minute. But
yeah, this weekend I am going to Wales Comic Con where there's going to be 4 Doctors there.
Oh, good.
Yeah. I'm going to get the big photo option of Peter, Colin, Sylvester and Paul all together.
Nah, that's cool. I'm always a fan of sounds really weird, seeing monsters from afar. It just sort of makes them seem more living in a way, do you know what I mean? Like they're seeing the Cyberman on the... Yeah, I don't know, it's hard to explain, but it's... Yeah.
And I love the quick cuts as the Cyberman comes closer. It's great.
100%.
You really get into the character's head. You know, Matthew Robinson could really shoot action.
I agree, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, and it frustrates me because the action scenes in Resurrection of the Daleks, they look like they could be good, but no one put any laser effects on in post-production. If it doesn't get a CGI update for season 21, I am just going to scream.
Yeah, I think that's the obvious candidate.
It's weird. No one else seems to think it's an obvious candidate, because I remember Review of Death going through this discussion. They got to season 21 and they were like, I don't know what they could do. Frontios, maybe? Warriors of the Deep? And I'm like, hello?
I mean, Warriors of the Deep would be interesting, but it'd be quite a mammoth... undertaking.
I mean, I don't think they could CGI out the Merker because, like the giant rat in Talons, you know, it's in completely bright light and there's just no escaping it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was happy with the ones for Time Lash because even though it doesn't make the story great, like the interior of the Time Lash itself looks really good and it looks less like Santa's Grotto.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, even though it was just
gonna say with the McCoy ones for Blu-ray so far, they've not put any new effects on for any of them.
I find that really interesting as well. Yeah. I guess the ones that needed it, I guess, have already been done. like, or the ones that could bend, like Curse of Fenric's been done because it's got the special edition. Battlefield, you know, Survival maybe could have used it, but
I reckon they'll go with Remembrance of the Daleks, and I think the Dolby Atmos soundtrack will go to Remembrance.
Yes, I 100% agree.
Because do you see? Because with season 9 and season 20, they seem to have gone to like the standout choices, like Sea Devils and Five Doctors. I remember Mark Harry's saying it was 2021 when season 24 was coming out. He said with the way we're going now, I wouldn't say no to Dolby Atmos mixes for classic Doctor Who.
It's so nuts to me that is a thing. Like, I can watch the Sea Devils in Atmos. It's nuts. Yeah. It's so mad.
Yeah, I can watch a movie edition of the Sea Devils that's 90 minutes and has Dolby Atmos.
It's nuts.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool though. I mean, I love the McCoy era releases on Blu-ray because obviously there's so much material to mine from. The fact that every single version of every episode is in 5.1, like the amount of extended cuts that are on there, and I still think season 24 is the best box set that we've had, like in terms of the sheer amount of content that's on there.
Season 20 has been marketed as the biggest one yet.
That's probably going to take it over. But yeah,
it's got 9 discs, and even though season 2 had 9 discs, there's going to be way more content.
Yeah, exactly, it's going to be massive. I'm so excited for that set. I can't wait to see the Five Doctors, the new edition of it.
Yeah, the 40th anniversary edition.
That's 3 versions of that thing now. I wonder what is going to be different for it, because obviously we know we've got the different special effects for the time scoop and stuff, but I wonder, are they going to add in new scenes? Are they going to take out any scenes from the previous edition?
Is it going to be like... Is it going to be the transmitted version with new effects and the scenes from the 95 version taken out, or is it going to be like the best of both worlds?
Yeah, exactly. I'm fascinated to see what it's going to be.
Oh, we're about to get our first excellent.
Yes.
David Banks, he is so terrific as the cyber leader.
Oh, he really is, yeah. He's the definitive cyber leader.
And also he was the Doctor on stage when he...
yes, yeah.
I think he stood in for when John Pertwee had left due to illness and Colin wasn't available yet, so...
Yeah.
I can't remember what fans refer to him as in terms of Doctors.
Well, it's canon now, after the Timeless Children, so...
Oh, yeah. I wonder if Romana 2's regeneration in Destiny of the Daleks, she looked at how they did it in the Timeless Children and thought, oh, I'll try that.
What do you think of that cliffhanger?
Yeah, it's good. It's fine.
Yeah, it's alright.
To be honest, most cliffhangers are just like, okay, the episode needs to end, just do it.
Yeah, exactly. It's solid, though.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting, with the viewing figures for this season. It started out really strong with like 8.9 because they'd gone back to Saturday tea time.
Yeah.
By the time we got to, I think, middle of the Two Doctors, like a third of the audience had dropped out.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it, but I think part of the reason why episodes after the announcement of the hiatus got the figures they did was because of the news that Doctor Who was coming off the air.
Yeah, I agree. I definitely agree.
Yeah, because I know Yeah, that's the one thing I was amazed about for season 22. Michael Grade agreed to do an interview about it.
Yeah.
It's an interesting interview because, one thing, I do appreciate the guy's honesty. You know, he's pretty much asked, so it was you who made that decision to put Doctor Who on hiatus? He was like, oh yeah, it was me. Well, I take full responsibility.
Yes.
Like, he doesn't try and deflect it or blame it on anyone else. He's just like, yeah, it was me.
But also the weird thing about that is the amount of times he has to be told that, no, it actually did still carry on after that and ran for 3 more seasons. And he's like...
he seems to...
Yeah.
He seems to think it ended when he sacked Colin Baker.
It's really
but
weird.
No, it carried on for a few years.
Yeah, like Matthew Sweet has to repeat that like 3 times, I think.
Yeah. As much as I disagree with him cancelling Doctor Who at the time, I do appreciate what he did for Blackadder, because he looked at the first series of that and said, nah, this is too expensive, you're going to have to dial it down a lot, which is how we got Blackadder 2, the subsequent series, and how that show became the success it did. So
yeah, definitely.
Thank you for that.
No,
There's that infamous photo. There's that infamous photo of RTD and Moffat giving him the look of death
that is brilliant.
while he's in the photo,
That's so
which
good.
is great.
Is it me, or the title sequence on the Blu-ray transfer of this? Is it me, or do the colours look really muted compared to normal?
I noticed it on the 2 Doctors, like...
Yeah.
If you look at the DVD, in fact, this is something the title sequence designer Sid Sutton explains. I can't remember the exact reason, but he did say, like, unfortunately, the filters look slightly different every week, so you'd have it look a bit lighter or more colourful each week. And yeah, the 2 Doctors is the most bright of it, but I think they seem to have fixed that for the Blu-ray, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Speaking of the 2 Doctors, I'm glad they included a fix with Sontarans and made it a lot better, in my opinion.
Yeah, that re-edit of a fix with Sontarans is like, it really like impressed me when I watched it, because it's sort of, I guess for Gareth Jenkins as well, it's now taken that memory of that and made it into a much more positive one, like beyond the things that it used to be associated with.
Yeah, they've taken out He Who Must Not Be Named, so...
It is kind of funny on the commentary for it, though. Like, they are sort of jumping through hoops in an attempt to not mention it. Like,
yeah, they don't mention him at all.
They keep, like, going, oh, with a fix. And they keep just saying fix, and it's like, yeah, they're really jumping through hoops to try and avoid the obvious, which, yeah...
I love this, disguising yourself as a monster to get past, get deep inside their enemy base. It's straight out of the first Dalek story.
Yes, yeah, I agree.
I know this has come under criticism for having too many continuity references, but as a kid, it didn't really bother me, because I'd already seen stories like the Tomb of the Cybermen and the Invasion before I watched this.
Yeah.
And I know that wasn't an option back in 1985, but I think it may have been ahead of its time for the home media release, because we've now got every Doctor Who story at our disposal.
Yeah, very true, very true. I mean, I do agree. I think the season does fall. I mean, to be honest, I think a lot of it is Ian Levine, but him getting his grubby little protuberances all over it. But yeah,
I know for Warriors of the Deep, he for some reason he looked at the script, and I don't know why, because it's not like he was a staff member. Looked at the script for Warriors of the Deep and was like, oh my god, there's 27 major continuity issues. Yeah, JNT was like, I better show this to Eric Saywood then. which, yeah, apparently Eric was like, well, this is stupid. Are we making a show for the fans? Or are we making a show for the general audience?
Yeah.
Like, who's honestly going to care about this?
I agree. And there are certain things where it's like, okay, be consistent with the backstory and stuff, but when it's like, oh, the ship looks different here compared to here, how does this make sense? And I am just like, bloody hell. Does it matter? Just headcanon it.
Yeah.
Just, it doesn't... He really... God, Ian Levy, he really is the real-life Victor Kennedy, isn't he? Like, it's just...
Oh, yeah, definitely.
I know he was based off him, but, like, every time you hear a story like that, it is just your classic thing of a fan just taking something way too seriously and yeah.
I know Not My Doctors use it as ammunition against Russell T Davies, but one thing I'm really glad about is that he's making it clear, if you're a twat, you're not welcome here.
Yeah. No. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And he will, if you're a dick on Instagram, he will block you and he will have no qualms about doing so. And it's, yeah.
Yeah, because if you're surprised he blocked you because you're asking him about potential spoilers, what did you expect?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, because it's my theory he saw all like the terrible things that were said about Chris Chibnall and Jodie Whittaker, and he's just like, I'm putting a stop to it. I don't want to see it anymore.
Yeah, and if he can do it, God bless him, because it really is like what has been said about those two over the last few years is just horrific, and it's like even to the point where like anything in that era, any minor thing has to, you have to have a Twitter thread, like a 15 tweet long Twitter thread about why it's bad and all. It's just.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, not much really changed from the 80s. There's, I remember reading an article. I think it was like when season 24 was being transmitted. After the open air screening where, Sylvester McCoy, Bonnie Langford and J&T were on it. J&T addressed, the criticism saying, I think sometimes the memory can cheat. Maybe their recollection of what their childhood was is somewhat a bit hazy. Then... I think it was Ian Levine who said, and those calls that were praising Sylvester McCoy as the Doctor, they were clearly made to be sycophantic. They were clearly made to be positive and not show that this series is now a sinking ship.
It's just... Ian, no offence, you're not a journalist, so fuck off. To quote RTD.
Yep. Said RTD.
Yeah. It really is that, like, it's. Yeah, I mean, that happens in every fandom, but you see it in like Star Wars, like paid by Disney to say positive things about this, and it's like, what?
And Kathleen Kennedy has been fired for the X notes 100th time.
Yeah.
Chaos in Cardiff.
Oh, Chaos in Cardiff, that's the best of all. You can't leave, Chris, we're still filming, said Jodie, apparently shouting at him across the street. I mean,
I was just going to say, I love how considerate the Cybermen are, because they say, Telos is cold, your companion must have warmer clothing.
Very much so, yeah, they're alright, they'll look after you. I mean, they might make you like them, but they'll look after you.
Yep. This scene here of the rogue Cyberman in the original script, it started with two Cybermen, trying to bring one back to life. It came back to life, but ended up going berserk and killing the other two, basically by pulling their arms off, I think, good. Or maybe ripping their heads off.
Yeah, good.
I don't think they filmed it, but it was in the script. Honestly, something I love here about the cyber sets you see here and in the sewers is, you've got like people being converted, and it's like set dressing. If anyone's doing production design, it's a Cyberman story, have humans have converted, scattered across the base. It reminds you of what's beneath the metal.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, it's something that I appreciate Chibnall did for Cybermen and the Daleks as well. makes it clear they're not robots. There's living beings underneath the metal.
Yeah.
It's something Eric Saywood does as well with the Daleks, because in both his Dalek stories, emphasis is put on the Dalek mutant.
Yeah, Chibnall really did take a lot from the 80s, because he sort of, the idea of getting into Cyberman armours and using them as disguise, that was used as well.
Oh god, yeah, it was. And though interestingly enough, the Timeless Children is often compared to the Cartmel Master Plan, but apparently Andrew Cartmel wasn't a fan of the Timeless Children. He thought it was too much. I think these tomb sets look great. The use of levels is really nice. Desaturated colour and the dry ice. It does look great. You feel like you're in a giant freezer.
They've got the scale to them, definitely.
Yeah. Because we go inside a tomb later, and it kind of looks like it doesn't just look claustrophobic and cramped. It looks like they've got their very own room.
Yeah.
There's an odd sound effect here, because Perry approaches this Cyberman.
Yeah.
You hear like a bit of... Yeah, you hear that...
It is bizarre.
I mean, it's probably a bit of unfortunate timing. It just sounds like the Cyberman's making that noise.
Yeah.
Well, that shocked me when I first watched it.
Yes. It is pretty...
Cyberman getting his head punched off.
Yeah. I mean, of course, the infamous bit is later on with the hands, but we'll get to that.
Or this... Oh, yeah, the Cybermen crushing the hands.
Yeah.
It's quite possibly the most violent moment in Doctor Who history. I think it's...
I would say so.
The other scene to parallel it is probably the drowning scene in Deadly Assassin.
Yeah.
The way the Cyberman walks off, it looks like he's drunk. So we're introduced to the Cryons. I like them. I think they're an interesting addition to, Cyberman lore. I think it's cool. I know they were originally going to be male, but it was Matthew Robinson who thought, why not make them female?
Yeah, which is interesting, actually. It's something different. Yeah, I don't mind them. They're pretty good. One of them is played by Sarah Green, so which is interesting. I mean, that's another thing that's like, get a big kids TV presenter from around this time to be a guest star, but we'll make her unrecognisable.
Yeah, I think before part one of the story was transmitted, Colin and Nicola, Jacqueline Pearson, Mary Tam, they were all on Saturday Superstore to promote the local pantomime.
Yeah. Yes, yeah, that's... Yeah. Is that the pantomime
Makes
that?
me wish I was around. I was going to say, it makes me wish I was around in the 80s, because when Doctor Who wasn't on the air at Christmas, you could have seen them in a pantomime.
Yeah, yeah. Was that the pantomime that they were essentially forced into doing?
More or less.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think so, because they were still... That's why Colin and Nicola aren't in any studio scenes for part 1 of Revelation of the Daleks, yeah. Yeah, honestly, it's... pantomime is one of the hardest jobs you'll ever do as an actor, so the fact that that JNT was having them do 2 jobs at once,
right.
That's just...
Yeah.
That's really harsh. She was this Cryon, played by Faith Brown. She was a well-known comedienne, wasn't she?
Yes, she was. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's unrecognisable, really, that it's her. But yeah.
Well, they were planning to get Laurence Olivier to play the mutant in Revelation of the Daleks.
Yeah.
And the reason they keep moving their hands and touching people is because the actors could not see.
They couldn't see a thing, yeah. Classic.
Yeah. I do like how they are female. I think it is a nice contrast to the Cybermen, because they're masculine, they're huge. These are quite small and feminine and quite musical, you know. It's a really nice contrast.
It's different, yeah.
Yeah. One thing changed from them being male to female. When they were male, one of them had a crush on Perry.
Ah, wonderful.
I do wonder, are the younger Cryons called Cry Babies?
Oh, very good. I've not heard that joke before.
Yeah. Yeah, and the reason this is my favourite Cyberman story overall is because, it just shows the horror of cyber conversion, because in a bit we're about to see Bates take the covering off and revealing a metal arm underneath. It's brilliant,
It definitely nails the body horror aspects of it all.
Yeah, which is why I'm surprised Philip Hinchcliffe didn't use them that much in his era, because I reckon he really would have racked up the body horror for them, but... he was very keen not to use just old favourites.
you've got to kind of be a very, very, very good actor to make scenes like this feel really genuine as well.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm actually surprised the Cryons haven't appeared in a Big Finish story alongside the Cybermen, because I think this year the Vogons are coming back in an Eighth Doctor story.
Of course they are, of course.
Yep. When you brought back the Crotons, why not the Cryons? I mean, the behind the sofa for this is pretty funny, because when they first appear, Sylvester McCoy says, "Oh, are these cyber ladies?"
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
My favourite has to be on the Revelation one, because in that story, Davros says to the Doctor, "I shall return." The Doctor says, "I shall be waiting for you." And then it cuts to Sylvester saying, "No, you won't, Colin. That'll be me." Apparently, one of the actors considered for the Cryons was Koo Stark, who was Prince Andrew's girlfriend or something like that.
Okay, makes sense.
Yep. No, JNT tried to get Prince Edward into Silver Nemesis.
I mean, yeah, he tried to get everyone to Silver Nemesis, didn't he?
Yep.
God, it really is shot well, actually, all this. It's...
Yeah, definitely. Like, the metal arm here is great.
Yeah.
I do like how the rejects are just kept around as slaves. It's a terrifying concept.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Big Finish do great Cybermen stories,
Yeah.
You do get the odd one where it's just like, oh, the Cybermen are here, but certain stories like Spare Parts, Hour of the Cybermen, Legend of the Cybermen, there's stories where it's exclusively got to be them, because for Hour it's about how physically different they are from us, on how they don't need to rely on water because they cause a worldwide drought. Legend of the Cybermen has them invading the land of fiction, because they feel by making everyone logic they must destroy imagination.
It's a great idea.
So it is, like, you get cyber mermaids, cyber dragonflies and things like that. You have Dracula and the Artful Dodger fighting Cybermen. What's not to love? How did you know that was the Doctor? I mean, the brightly coloured coat kind of gives it away, Terry.
Yeah, he's not the most inconspicuous of individuals, is he?
Yeah. I mean, there's that edit on the featurette that discusses the Doctor's costumes, where they put Colin in the black outfit, but I think they've just photoshopped his head on Chameleon from Planet of Fire.
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Nicola Bryant had an interesting journey while she was on Doctor Who, because she was told to keep her American accent in interviews, and you know, had to keep her marriage a secret as well.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah, and when the series was put on hiatus, she was on holiday, I think, and no social media or anything like that. So
yes.
She got home, the phone rang, and I think it was a journalist who said, "How do you feel about the death of Doctor Who?" And she thought, "Oh my God, Colin's dead," or something like that. Yeah. And her agent rang her and said things like, "Yes, I know, it's very sad news." And Nicola was like, "I know, Colin, he's gone." And she was like, "What are you on about? The series is cancelled." Interestingly enough, Colin and Nicola, they still got paid for it. The unmade season 23.
Is fair enough. Because if they were... Yeah.
I know Colin said it coincided with my daughter being born, so
yeah,
being paid for the unmade season 23, they gave me paternity leave. Love how in this the Time Lords, the Doctor just happened to be around, so they're just like, "Oh, just let him do it."
Yeah, it's the ultimate. Oh, you are
yeah,
taking
the Cybermen are interfering with history. The Doctor's nearby. Just let him do it.
Yeah.
It's funny in the commentary. I think it's for this one. Colin Baker says, "It's funny, my Doctor always seemed to have a problem with the Time Lords. He never seemed to like them. Yet I look at David Tennant's Doctor, and he can't get over the fact that they're gone." Yeah. I'm starting to think maybe the Sixth Doctor did lose the most when it came to the Time Lords, because he was put on trial by them, which meant it turned out to be a scapegoat because he was uncovering their conspiracy. He promised a darker incarnation of him, future regenerations, and more or less killed Perry.
I think his is the one where like the faith was broken.
Because the Seventh Doctor, I mean, there were no more like Time Lord stories after that,
yes,
so because maybe it was a decision for him to say, "Right, I'm done with you guys now." It's the supply for my cocaine party. I like the idea of an explosive that detonates when it reaches a certain temperature.
Yeah, it's a cool idea actually, and it's perfect for the kind of ice tombs of Talos, really.
Mm-hmm. Say this, I think the 80s Cybermen design is probably my favourite.
Yeah.
I think it combines all of the past ones into one, because they've got like the helmet from The Invasion and Revenge of the Cybermen. They've got the slimness of the Tomb ones, and got got the human organic look from the 10th Planet. You know, it's all of them combined into one, and I think they're the best looking version.
It's probably my favourite too. It used to be the Tomb ones, but yeah, I think it's, or the Moonbase ones, I should say. But yeah, I think it's these guys now. I think when they're shot well, they look absolutely incredible as well. So.
Yeah, and I like the silver-looking ones that we got in Silver Nemesis.
Yes.
I mean, appropriate for the Silver Anniversary, yeah. I was wondering, that probably could be the one that gets the CGI update.
Yeah,
maybe.
Yeah, possibly. Could work.
I know there's an extended VHS cut out there of Silver Nemesis, so...
I'm hoping that makes
very
it to
easily
Blu-ray.
make its way onto Blu-ray.
I'm hoping so, because that's one of the few McCoy stories that doesn't have an extended cut at the minute that we can see. It's that, and
the only one that doesn't is Survival.
Yeah.
If every story on season 25 is given an extended cut, Survival will be the only one where it doesn't.
I think we'll get one for Remembrance, because all of those scenes exist and they're pretty high quality. I think we'll get one for that. I think we'll maybe we'll get one for Greatest Show.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm expecting big things from the season 25 release, because season 24 was just so good.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, season 20, we're getting the long leap footage. I never thought we'd get that.
They just keep topping themselves with these releases. It does make me wonder, though, do you think they're ever going to do like a special edition of season 12? Because that release is a bit more... Not basic, that's the wrong word, because it is still incredible. But it's now that they've kind of pushed it even further with the rest of the box sets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because the minimum used to be like 2 teams of actors or creators on behind the sofa. Now it's gone to 3.
There's loads, yeah. And even with the artwork as well, like the artwork is so much kind of livelier for the others.
Yeah. Once we get season 20, we'll have 4 collections in a row from 17 to 20.
Yeah, that is going to be so cool.
Yeah, I'm hearing rumours of season 6 later this year, which would be nice because Troughton desperately needs a box set to
he's
join the club.
starting to be conspicuous in his absence now.
Oh, here it is. Apparently, originally, like, we're going to add sound effects of bones cracking. Yeah. The fact you see the pained expression on his face and it quickly cuts and his hands
it's
are
the blood
bleeding.
that gets me. Like, it's really gore. I'm shocked they got away with it, to be perfectly honest.
I mean, I think it's this story, Varos, 2 Doctors, and Revelation that got the biggest criticism for being too violent. Yeah. Yeah, I'd argue, it is it's more violent than usual, but I'd say it's not really anything more violent than anything from the Philip Hinchcliffe era.
Yeah, it's a
Brain
funny
of
one.
Morbius, that's probably the most gruesome story, because you've got guy getting shot in the stomach and blood pouring out, brains splattering on the floor, headless monsters, death by strangulation and fire. I find it a shame with the cyber control of the new series we never got the... Obviously you see the brain on show, but you never have his head be larger.
No, which... Yeah, the penis head, as I call it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Frankly, it looks like a giant dick. Isn't it weird that they obviously had trouble seeing and obviously needed to maneuver with their hands, and they just gave them long nails that can't they can't grip anything. Yeah. Yeah, look at this tomb. It looks like the Cybermen have got their own room.
Yeah.
Move the camera slightly to the right, you'd probably see that Cyberman had an Xbox in the
corner.
corner.
Yeah, right. It looks like a bit of a hangout spot.
Waiting to get reactivated.
Yeah. I do think overall part 2 is the lesser of the two for me.
Yeah, I can see that, and yeah, honestly, I love the story so much.
Yeah, no, fair enough.
It's always moving at a fast pace. I'm never bored by it. I could watch it hundreds of times and just never be bored by it. It's just everything I love Doctor Who to be. And yeah. We won't reveal it yet, but I'm surprised by your favourite choice because I thought it was Caves of Androzani.
Yeah, well, this is the thing. I mean, I'll explain it when we get to my one, but yeah, I struggle with my favourite story is the thing. So yeah, but we'll get there.
Last year was like was basically the year of the Sixth Doctor for me because it was the year I bought his costume.
Yeah,
I listened to way more of his stories on Big Finish, and I felt like the distracted boyfriend meme.
Oh yeah,
where Patrick Troughton's my girlfriend, Colin Baker's the girl I'm getting distracted by, and you could put Banner as favourite Doctor.
No, it's true. He worked so well on Big Finish. I listened to Doctor Who and the Pirates earlier this year, and it was so good. That's a brilliant story.
I'll say this about the Sixth Doctor on Big Finish. When you think of Doctors and Companions, you usually think of like ones that are so iconic together. With the Third Doctor, it's like Jo. Fourth Doctor, Sarah Jane. With the Sixth Doctor, it's easily Evelyn Smythe.
Yes, yeah, true.
Yeah, it's something because the TV series does tend to stick to fairly youngish people in their 20s as companions. I do applaud Chibnall for like breaking out of the box a bit by having Bradley Walsh and John Bishop be companions.
Yeah.
Something I like about the music, you can never tell if it's sound effects or music. It blends like really well. It really tricks the ear. That's what I like about Malcolm Clarke's music. But I guess it's not for everyone.
No, but it blends into it. It's a unique soundscape, I think.
I know we talked over it, but obviously there's that infamous music of when the TARDIS arrives in the scrapyard. But it is supposed to be a nod to Steptoe and Son.
Yeah. It's an interesting one. I mean, the whole score is, but yeah.
Idea for a Big Finish Cyberman story: Cryons and Vogons team up to take down the Cybermen. Do it.
Yeah, I agree.
I love that image of Lytton being converted. Like, his eyes look, so drained. Like, the life force is being drained out of him. His voice has been distorted. He's saying, the drug is affecting my brain.
It's powerful. And...
it's so good, showing how the Cybermen convert people.
And it ends on such a downer, this story.
Well, originally it was going to end with, like, Matthew Robinson's idea was the TARDIS flipping upside down, the Doctor correcting it and, throwing Perry an apple and giving her a wink or something like that. But JNT was like, no, let's keep the downer ending, please.
The spray of green blood. What are your thoughts on that?
I like it. Again, it just reminds you, there is living matter inside the Cybermen. They're not just robots. Yeah, because I think in Tomb of the Cybermen, there's a scene where, liquid comes out of a Cyberman's chest. So if it was in colour, maybe that would have been green. Originally, Colin wanted to stand on top of the cyber controller's body and pump bullets into him like a madman.
It wouldn't have been that out of place in this, to be honest with you.
Yep. And originally, he wanted to rip the head off like a Dalek and eat the innards within.
Tea-time viewing for all the family.
Yep. Here's an example of cyber love. He puts his arm around his friend.
Yeah. Yes.
Run!
That whole run bit gets me every time.
Like, oh. To safety, quick!
Yeah, it's such a downbeat ending, really. It's a good conclusion to Lytton's story, though.
Yeah.
Like, it fits his character.
Mm-hmm.
So that was Attack of the Cybermen.
I watched. I was going to say I watched A Good Man Goes to War recently as part of my rewatch. I thought, I bet the Doctor would have recruited Lytton.
He probably would have
for that army.
Yeah, if he was still alive. Yeah, he probably would have.
Yeah, Attack of the Cybermen, my favourite Doctor Who story, and I'm probably the only person in the fandom to say that.
No, it's cool. It's an unconventional choice, and I like that. It's a solid season opener for me. I don't love it, but it's a good way of opening the season. It's fun, it's fast paced. I like a lot of the performances in it. Then the direction's great too, and the music is, fascinating. So
it's quite taste, but the music I really like.
Yeah. So yeah, that was Attack of the Cybermen. Hope you enjoyed the commentary, everyone. What are we going to be doing next time?
Next time we are going to be doing your favourite story, I believe.
Yes. So what we've picked for this one, or what I've picked for this one, is The Greatest Show in the Galaxy.
Exactly. So we will be heading to the Psychic Circus next time.
Yes, indeed. Now, you said it was going to be caves. It was originally going to be caves. I always struggle with my favourite story, because I always just flip-flop. I have got like 10 favourites that I just kind of cycle through. So it was going to be caves, but I realised, of course, we've already done caves.
Yep.
But Greatest Show is one that I have an awful lot to say about, and I could just gush for hours about it. So I've picked that one. So
Me too.
it should be a good commentary. So yeah, look forward to that next time. In the meantime, you can go and follow Isaac on his YouTube channel and also on X and Instagram. I have to get used to saying X now, not Twitter, which is endlessly annoying, but whatever. And yeah, we'll see you next time, guys.
Bye.